Hello, and welcome back to the AndroidAppTraining.com online course. In our last tutorial, we talked about how to create a list of website URLs to link out to, and now we're going to talk about creating a list of Google Maps. And while that may seem pretty similar, it's actually a little bit different in how you set it up in the blocks editor and in the properties section. So before we go to our blocks editor, let's make sure that we have our Maps activity starter highlighted here. And remember, this corresponds to our event locations button, but we want to have our Maps activity starter here, and we want to fill out our action, activity class, and activity package, just like we did when we learned how to link out to a single Google map. And you can find the correct code for these in the online course, so we'll just skip over that and move right on to the blocks editor. Okay, so remember when we created our list of URLs to link out to, we created the screen one initialize, and we wanted to make sure that our list picker was pointed to the particular list that it corresponds to. In this case, it was the events list, which is down here. Now we need to go ahead and make the list for our Google Maps just like we did our list for our URLs here. So what you do to create that is you go to the built-in tab and you click on definition, and you want to pull out two of these definition variables. And so again, these are going to create our lists for us here, just like we created down here. And we're going to start by renaming these. And so this is going to be my maps list. And this is going to be my maps list URLs. Okay, so let's start making our lists. So we'll go to the built-in tab and the lists shelf, and we'll find the make a list block. Pull one of those in for each of these. And now in order to fill in the rest of our lists, we just need text boxes. And we have 3 for our maps list and 3 for our maps list URLs. So I'm just going to copy a couple of these and we'll plug them in here. And by the way, I'm just using the old Control-C and Control-V to paste, Control-C to copy and Control-V to paste. All right. So now we're going to label these. This is going to be our Chicago event. And this one will be our New York event. And our Los Angeles event. Okay, so I'm going to take a second here and I'm going to go out and get my Google Maps URLs and plug them in here, so you'll see those already included when we get back. And since we've already talked about the proper way to get the URL that works in App Inventor, we'll skip over that as well, because that was in our last app that we created in this online course. Okay, so we're back, and I've added my Google Maps URLs here, as you can see. So let's just pull these out of the way, and we'll get started on the rest of our process. Now, before we go any further, let's take care of our screen one initialize, and we'll go find our maps list picker, and we will find maps list picker elements. And now, since we've created our maps list, we can then go to my definitions and find our maps list and plug that in there. Now, when the screen one initializes, these list picker elements will be ready to go. All right, so the next step is to tell our maps list picker what to do after picking. So it'll be similar to this, but a little bit different. So we'll find our maps list picker and maps list picker after picking. So this is just like when you put a button in your app and you're saying when the button's clicked, what do you want it to do? Well, the same thing holds true with the list picker. So when the list picker has been picked, what do we want to happen? And that's what we're going to fill in here. Now, when you're creating a list of Google Maps, I'm going to have you create one more definition here. So we're going to go back to our built-in area, find our definition, and we'll create one more. We're going to title this index. And we're going to add a number to the end of our index. So now that we're still in our built-in tab, let's go to the math area and pull out a number block. We'll plug that into the end here. We're going to change this to the number 1. And now that we've created this index, we're going to go back to My Blocks, and we'll find that our index is under my definitions now. So we want to pull the set global index to block out here, and now we're going to set our index to positions in the list. So we'll go back to the built-in tab, find our lists area, and we'll find position in list, and we'll drag that in. Now we're going to tell App Inventor that when we have our list picker, our maps list picker picked right here, where it's going to go, and that's going to go to our maps list. So let's go find our list picker for our maps list picker, and we want to use maps list picker selection right here. So when the maps list picker is selected, which list are we talking about? And in this case, we're going to go to the definitions we created and find our maps list and plug that in here. Now we'll be working with URLs here, so we need to tell our activity starter that that's what we want it to do. So let's find our maps activity starter. And anytime we're working with URLs, we want to pull out the .data URI block. So we'll plug that in here. Now we'll go back to our list area, pull out the select list item block. Now the list we're going to point to here is our maps URLs list, and the index we're going to point to is the index that we created right here. So let's go ahead and find our maps URL list, and since we created that as a definition, it'll be under my definitions. And here we see map list URLs, so that's the list we're going to point to, and we're going to go find the index that we created, pull that out and plug that into the index section. So to put the cherry on top of this, we always need to tell our activity starters to start the activity after all these actions have taken place. So let's go find our maps activity starter. And we'll find the .start activity, and we'll plug that right into the bottom. All right, so let's pull in our emulator here and see what we just built. I'll click on my event locations button, and we'll get our list of links to our Google Maps for our various events. I'll click on Chicago event, and I actually set this one to take us to Soldier Field in Chicago. Now if we press the back button, actually have to press it twice when you're working with Google Maps. We'll check out event locations, and let's take a look at our New York event. And I wanted to show you this one because you can actually take people down to Street View in Google Maps, as well as the overview topical map and satellite map. So let's take a look around, and actually what I did here was put us right on the Brooklyn Bridge. So you can see here's a nice shot of Google Street View on the Brooklyn Bridge. So that'll wrap up creating a list of Google Maps. Next, I'm going to show you how to make a page of text in App Inventor.